Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. Some interesting news coming out about Kieran Tierney. Actually, it came out yesterday afternoon, evening, sort of. It's actually very surprising because I mean, you look at the names that are coming up. Cucurella was the only name that had come out initially, and then David Raum, and then now you're seeing Kieran Tierney. I mean, David Ram, I was sort of, it was okay because City generally tend to keep a plan B if they cannot achieve their first target. But Tyranny is actually a very interesting one for me. I mean, David Ram, in a sense, I think he was looking to move on. David Ram had what 1 2 years max left on his deal and stuff, but Tyranny is a very interesting one for me because Tyranny has a deal. I just checked it now because I thought, why are we going for him? Tyranny just signed a long-term deal just a year ago, I think, and yes, it was true. Tyranny has a deal up to 2026 with Arsenal, which is almost 4 years. Which means I would not exactly say the ball is in Arsenal's court because we have to sell them Gabriel Jesus and we can use Tyranny as a make weight in that deal and stuff. But before discussing that, let us discuss about Kieran Tierney. Andy Robertson, he had made a interesting comment a few weeks back. He said that Kieran Tierney is a unique sort of a player in that left back role. He can come inside very well. He can play left centre back. He's very hard working. He's positionally very good. I mean, Cucurella and Kieran Tierney, what are the differentiating factors if you ask me? Okay, apart from the fact that Cucurella is well trained in the La Masia sort of, positional stuff and all, I think Kieran Tierney actually is defensively stronger than Cucurella if you ask me. The only weakness of Kieran Tierney is maybe I don't know this about Kieran Tierney because I don't watch him day in and day out, but I have never seen Tierney, go inside like a Cucurella does at Brighton. I think that is one doubt I have on Tierney. Otherwise, Cucurella and Tierney very much equal kind of players, you could say. I mean, Tierney is better defensive wise. Cucurella is much more better attacking wise. But one big differentiating factor is injuries. You know how many injuries Kieran Tierney has had in the last 2 seasons? 7 injuries. Yes, you have heard the figure correctly. 7 different injuries. Do we want to bring in other player at the left back position who has such a drastic injury record? Benjamin Mendy, right? We have stuck with him with all of those injuries and stuff. And then now, and it is because of those injuries that the left back spot has been vacant for a while, and now do you want to bring in another player who's actually prone to injuries? I mean the positive points here of Kieran Tierney are exciting for me because I mean, it's yes, Cucurella can do that. He can play left centre back. I know he could also be a cover for Laporte, but Tierney has done that. Tierney has actually played in that left centre back position, and he's defensively solid. I would say that Tierney is an upgrade on Ake. Actually, Ake can play both left back and left centre back, but the problem with Ake is he is not good in pinging those diagonal balls and playing through the lines like a Laporte does. Tierney covers that. So, I mean, it would actually not be a bad thing going for him because we have the leverage again here. Gabriel Jesus and maybe Arte. It's being said that Arsenal are going for Rafinha and stuff, so they would need money. Tierney for 40 million would be a very good deal. Maybe you could reduce some money with the Gabriel Jesus deal we're doing and stuff like that. But my only concern remains here is injuries and that other point of uh, I would say positional sense when attacking, adding that attacking balance to a side in terms of how Pep's left backs do it, drive inside. Can he do a Cancelo like drive inside? He definitely can go up and down the flank. He definitely can put in some wonderful crosses. So Tyranny is in, like many people are saying, oh, it's a surprise. Tyranny is in he's injury prone and stuff like that. I think this could probably be a risk that could be worth it, because if Pep feels that City's medical staff can work on all of the issues that Tierney is facing and make him much more fitter here than he was at Arsenal, maybe I think it is a risk. But is it worth taking? That is another question for me again, because I myself am a bit confused here. Because one moment I think about it, it seems okay, you can take the risk because of the attributes Tierney has. And so remember, Cucurella has been at only one season. It's been only one season that he's been in the Premier League. If you're, I mean, generally people have the second season syndrome and stuff, where the attackers and opposition coaches, they plan against you and then stuff like that. Cucurella has not had that, but Tierney has had had the experience of being in the Premier League for quite a while. So I do think that is a plus point. But still, I do not know. Injuries are still nagging me. Do I want another left back in Pep's tenure who's sidelined for much of the games with injuries? Because to really adjust to this Pep system, you really need to play day in and day out. Otherwise, if you're injured, sidelined for a while, then coming back, and it's difficult. That's my only problem with Tyranny. Dhruvesh is here. Hey, Dhruvesh, how are you doing, mate? He says Bernardo is also leaving. Dhruvesh, actually, we are going to just talk about that in the show just in a while. But how are you saying so confidently, Dhruvesh, that Bernardo is leaving? Because that would really sadden me. I'm like enjoying the transfer window, like we all are, and suddenly Bernardo is leaving. Mate, that could just turn the transfer window upside down if Bernardo is leaving. You literally think if Bernardo is leaving, it could just tilt the balance in the midfield. We'll just talk about that, about Bernardo and stuff. But let me just finish on Tierney here. I think it's 60-40. It's actually 70-30. 70% we should go for Cucurella. If Cucurella doesn't come, if it's impossible, then I think we should go for Tierney, because we've seen how much rampaged is by injuries in the Premier League. That's the only concern. I know I'm repeating myself again and again, but that is what has happened in Tierney's career till now with Arsenal. Repeat of injuries again and again. But you could also play devil's advocate here, and you could also put a counter argument to me here that even Sid Kolasinac, we were linked to him 3-4 seasons ago under Pellegrini, I think, or when Pep just came. Even he suffered a lot of injuries at Arsenal. You could also argue that Maitland-Niles suffered a lot of injuries. You could argue that most of Arsenal's fullbacks suffer injuries. So that could be a point where Pep would look at it and say, okay, there must be something wrong. This team is doing that. A lot of their fullbacks suffer injuries, and we can, maybe with the help of a medical team or top-notch because our fullbacks don't get injured. Our fullbacks work harder than Arsenal's fullbacks. Walker, he just works his socks off, running up and down. Cancelo, Zinchenko, I mean, so there must be something in there. That is the devil's advocate thing. But if the price difference is just a 40 or 50, 40 for Tierney, 50 for Cucurella, then go for Cucurella. Then Cucurella has, in terms of the Pep system, I think Cucurella is much more ahead in the learning curve, because he's a La Masia graduate, and he has literally been trained right from his young age, 9, 10 years, the youngest age groups, on how to play that system for 10 years, how to play that positional system. So that is why Pep is hell-bent on Cucurella. He's hell-bent on a player who, because Pep realizes this season is unique. This season is unique in the sense, generally generally you have three Premier League matches at the start of the season, 3-4, and then an international break, and then you have 3-4 Premier League matches, and then you have the second international break. So, and then the huge Christmas and New Year, that scheduled rush comes. But this season, you don't have that luxury. I think you sometimes have to play two Premier League matches in a week this season, and there's no international break till 9 matches, which means which means there cannot be any passengers will carry this time. You really have to have players who understand your system and go and get go. from the starting. That's why Pep is going for Calvin Phillips, who knows the positional play well, and that's why I think he's looking for Tierney here. Because David Rom, for me, after we've discussed in the show, I've just had a look at him again. David Rom for me is excellent in that wing back position. People say, by the way, Rom had been linked to United also yesterday. So it seems that Rom is trying to get a move to the Premier League for sure. He's slowly been linked to all of the other Premier League clubs after being linked to us. But about David Rom, it's an interesting thing that he's got 13 assists. People say that he's set a record for the number of assists from a defensive position, wing back, right? My concern with David Rom here is he plays in the wing back position. And if you remember, Angelino's best position also was wing back. I think he still plays wing back position for Leipzig. He really took the Bundesliga by storm playing in that position. But when Angelino came back to City, he struggled playing in that left back position, because playing in a wing back is far different from playing in a left back position. In a wing back, you know that you make a mistake, you have cover. The third centre back is covering you. There's a centre back in the middle who's always back. You have that cover. But when you are a full back, especially in a Pep system, there's no cover for you. There are absolutely no excuses for you. You're on your own. Pep defenders don't get a lot of praise. They get a lot of praise for their attacking, but literally in defending, they're on their own, especially in one-on-one, especially when the attackers can't get back. So you have to be ready for those situations. And Angelino was total. I mean, I don't blame the player Angelino. He was our youth product. All the best to him. I'm actually happy that he's had a good career going for him at Leipzig, but he could not understand how to do one-on-one defending, because he's been drilled and used to that position of a back five, playing as a wing back in the Nagelsmann system. So I do think that could be the problem with David Rom here. So I think you're looking at Cucurella, or you're looking at Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney could actually solve the problem of giving rest to Laporte. Sometimes you can play Cancelo at left back, and you can play Tierney instead of Laporte because he's left footed. You can pin those balls. An interesting prospect. The injuries are the only concern. Otherwise, I think we can get his man, especially because we have to sell Jesus to Arsenal. For me, Cucurella will be the first one. Up to 50 million, it's fine. More than 50 million pounds, I think you're going for Tierney. That's my thing. And this is an interesting thing. I don't know why it's just going on and on. Bernardo Silva, Pep Guardiola met with Laporta. I think it was just 2 days back, and in a press conference he was asked about Bernardo Silva. Would Bernardo Silva be leaving and stuff like that? And Pep was like, I would like to keep Bernardo and 10 other players, but we are not. I mean, this sentence is important here. But we are not interested in keeping any players who are not happy. That was a fascinating comment from Pep. I think it has two sides to it. Jodel underscore 369 is here. He says, I heard of Ryan Nouri from Wolves as an alternative to. Again, Jodel, this is a problem with Ryan Nouri. This is a problem with David Rome. It is the same problem that we faced with Angelino. The thing is, with Angelino, he played in that back five as a wing back, and then he came to City. He couldn't understand the left back position. He was really torn apart. If you see in a match against United by Rashford, he was torn apart in many matches by the opposition wingers. So playing as a wing back, I do think is totally different from playing as a fullback, especially in a Pep Guardiola system where you have to do one-on-one defending when you are a fullback. I think that will be the same problem we would face with David Raum, and that could be the same problem we'll face with Ryan Nouri, because when Wolves play that back five system, right, and Ryan Nouri plays as a wing back. So I think we should be really careful of bringing in these wing backs, because it's totally a different mindset, because as a wing back you'll have three defenders at the back, more cover. As a left back, you have no security at all. One-on-one defending, you have to be at your topmost thing. And it's not just about defending. I know Ryan Nouri is an outstanding defender, but it's also about your positioning. The problem with bringing in a wing back and playing him as a full back is his positioning. Can he understand the positions? Can he understand the demands of that system? Because who are the vital players that make Pep Guardiola system tick? Both the full backs and the CDM. Against Aston Villa, we were losing in that final match. Whom did Pep change? Zinchenko. He didn't bring in on another striker. He changed Zinchenko, which shows how much important fullbacks are for our system. So I do think Pep would want. That is why Pep is interested in Cucurella, someone who's played in that fullback system in a back four, and he knows how to cut inside and stuff like that. So I think it's either Cucurella or Kieran Tierney. But talking about Bernardo Silva here, so Pep said if someone is not happy, we will not prevent him from, we will not come in his way of leaving. I think this is a subtle but big message sent by Pep to Bernardo Silva here. Pep is telling that I trust you. You are my most trusted lieutenant. You are the one who I depended upon the entire last season against Real Madrid. I took Kevin out, but I did not take you out till the last minute in both of the legs. That is how much I trust you. But if you are not happy here, you can leave tomorrow. So Pep has really told Bernardo Silva to decide on his future now. Pep has told him you can't be muddled in your mind. You decide it now, that whether you want to be here, whether do you still find this project challenging, do you still believe in this project? Otherwise, you can leave. I think what the confidence of Pep here is, I know a lot of fans are like, we are like a bit scared, like, oh, what will happen if Bernardo will leave? But I do think that we should not underestimate Pep. Pep knows that there is a possibility that Bernardo can leave. Number one, I think in the worst case scenario, we always have a plan B. Our transfer department, our scouting always has a plan B. I do think that if Bernardo leaves, Matthews Nunes is the name whom we are looking to bring in. It's not Frankie De Jong or something. Matthews Nunes or Enzo Fernandez. Our scouts have been working on it since the Julian Alvarez deal back in January. Matthews Nunes and Enzo Fernandez. We'll bring in either of these two. If we don't bring in, then I think Pep thinks that James McAtee is ready to occupy Bernardo Silva's position. Should be either or there's another alternative. Jack Grealish. You know what Pep said when we spent £100 million in Jack Grealish last season? There were a lot of reports from inside City that Pep wants Grealish to play as a number 8, box to box role, which Bernardo does. I know Grealish is not at that stage of his development like a Bernardo Silva, especially in this Pep system, but you really would back Grealish to play that system. So, guys, if Bernardo does leave, worst case scenario, Grealish, number one is we have the player who has the ability to play in that position. Jack Grealish, he can play in that number 8 position, so we don't need to be concerned about that, or we are tracking an Enzo Fernandez or Matthews Nunes. Jodel says, hasn't Matthews Nunes decided to stay at Sporting? I heard so. Yeah, actually we were linked with him a lot. It was either Calvin Phillips or Matthews Nunes. We went for Calvin Phillips, but you see, Bernardo is sold to Barcelona. The deal would not be anything less than 90 million, 80, 90 million at least. City are telling 100 million, but negotiations will be 90 million. And with 90 million, even if you signed a long-term deal with Sporting, you want Matthews Nunes, you offer 60 million, 70 million. I think Sporting will just drop the pen and Matthews Nunes will come. So again, in this transfer window, money is not an issue, but we can get whom we want. But again, the balance of the squad, how well can Matthews Nunes integrate into the squad if we do bring him in? That is another question. So my first priority is imagining the worst case scenario, Jack Grealish, and then a Matthews Nunes or an Enzo Fernandez. And then the third thing is you bled someone from the academy. James McCarthy has been crying out for that midfield spot, and people say James McCarthy is an attacking midfielder and stuff like that, but Bernardo is a box to box. Before Bernardo came to City, what positions did Bernardo play? Bernardo played on the right wing, and played as an attacking midfielder for Monaco, right? No experience in this box to box role, and today Bernardo is playing box to box role at the Bernabeu in the biggest Champions League games. So I don't get into this argument that we don't have cover for Bernardo. I do. The worst case scenario, Bernardo goes. I think James McAtee will be given that spot because he's outgrown under 23's football. 21 goals in 17 goals in 21 games. So McAtee is actively looking for that midfield spot. So we don't need to be as much worried if Bernardo. Yeah, I love Bernardo, but if the worst case scenario happens, we are prepared, guys. We are the most prepared club, I feel. You look at any other team. If United don't get De Jong, for example, they're screwed. If Liverpool lose someone in the midfield, if Liverpool lose Fabinho, they're screwed. But we are not screwed even if we lose one of our best midfielders in the worst case scenario. So I think we are well prepared in that, and the scouting system is on it literally. We have one or two players back up along with Grealish. So that is why I think these comments state that Pep wants Bernardo to resolve this issue before the preseason starts. Are you staying? Are you leaving? If you're staying, then I'll have you in my plans and my preparations. If you're leaving, okay, then I'll have to bring in other players, or then I'll have to maybe give someone like an Oscar Bob or Romeo Lavia or even a Tommy Doyle more chances in the preseason just to see how well they can settle into the squad in your place. So I mean, this is such an open-ended comment, and I think no manager in the world, even Jurgen Klopp, would not dare to make this comment on his best player. Look at it. How has Jurgen Klopp talked on Salah, on Mane? He was not accepting that they'll leave. He was not telling contract situation. It will be resolved and stuff. He was telling, but Pep is clear. It might be anybody. This club is bigger than any single player. If you're not happy here, you can well leave. I don't care, if no player is bigger than the dream which I'm seeing for us to achieve, which is the Champions League, and again get hold of the Premier League back to back to back. So no player is bigger than the system. Pep, he sent off Ferran Torres when we didn't have a striker. Pep prepared Ferran Torres to be a striker, right? For 2 months, he was giving him chances day in and day out, in the Champions League games in that striking position. He left for Barcelona without blinking an eye. Pep didn't flinch. Another manager could have got Julian Alvarez, right? Or another striker in the January transfer window itself. He didn't. Pep has shown us time and again that even if I don't have a player, whoever it might be, my system will not fail. The system will get us through. The beliefs, the attitudes of the players in the system will get us through. And I think that is the most important component of the project we are building here. I've seen today a rival newspaper or some media outlet talking that people leave City frequently. Why aren't big players actually happy at City? Why do they leave frequently? Ferran Torres is leaving, talk of Bernardo is leaving. They had a big article on that. I'm like, why didn't you include a David Silva? Why didn't you include a Sergio Aguero? Why didn't you include a Yaya Toure in that article? Legends, right? Bigger than a Ferran Torres, potentially bigger than a Bernardo Silva. There's a flip side to that. Okay, people leave, but my argument here would be that City don't care. We don't care. We don't offer them big wages like other clubs do. If they're happy, they're here, or else they leave. We win things without. We win things even if our star players leave. That is what this system is. So I would not be too much unhappy. I mean, I would be unhappy, of course. I love him so much. I'm one of the biggest fans of Bernardo, like all you are. So I really hope that Bernardo stays. But if he leaves, no need to panic at all, guys. That's what. I was also in this panic situation. If you if you see my videos, even 3 4 days ago, I was like, should we go in for Frankie De Jong? Are we being foolish not going for Frankie De Jong? And all such things. What will we do if Bernardo Silva leaves? Are we doomed if he leaves and all? But I was just thinking, how many players were not there? No left back, no striker, and have we not managed all of this time? We will manage it somehow. But my only concern here is, if Bernardo ends up staying, it is a world class midfield along with a world class front three. That is what I think we will miss if Bernardo leaves. I do not necessarily think that we will miss the Premier League title or the champ or competing in the for the Champions League title if Bernardo leaves. The only thing we'll miss is being a complete team, all of the 11 players almost being like a dream Pep Guardiola 11. That is what we will miss if Bernardo leaves, because another player would need time to adjust into that Pep system, because Rodri, Bernardo, two people from the deep who dictate play according to Pep's ideologies. I think that is what we'll miss if Bernardo leaves. Jodel says, my fear with losing Bernardo is finding a box to box midfielder that runs. Yes, energy is the thing, right? Energy is the thing, right, Jodel? But I do think that, and I can see your fears here, because, like I told, Grealish can play that role, and technically, Grealish and Bernardo, pure technique wise, they're almost on par, right? The only thing is the work rate. Your doubt is so much valid with the work rate of Grealish. But then we will find someone, or maybe I think Pep will adjust his system to that. Maybe I think what Pep will do is Pep will play like we used to play when David Silva and De Bruyne were there, right? Two number 10s, two central attacking midfielders with a CDM, with just a single holding CDM like Fernandinho. I think Pep can always go back to that system. That would be interesting. If I know why Pep went away from that system, because number one of Juan Lilo, who is a big advocate of that box to box midfielders and stuff. And another thing is transitions. I think with Bernardo Silva, the thing is we tend to manage transitions very well. That is one thing, like you said, the pressing and the transitions is something we will miss. But if he does want to leave, then I think we have to look beyond him, because you can't keep a player who is unhappy here and then and make him play to his full potential. So let us see how this situation goes. The first turning point, guys, in the situation might be this week of Bernardo Silva, because people are saying, when Fabrizio Romano was saying yesterday that, selling Frankie De Jong to United could be the number one point for Bernardo Silva, for Barcelona, in the pursuit of Bernardo Silva, because that's where they'll get the money from, right? And then they'll purchase Bernardo Silva from there and stuff. Pep's influence will be crucial here. Pep has always, especially in the recent past, hated that Barcelona is taking away players from us and stuff like that. So Pep's influence will be key here. Even after Pep's influence, if Bernardo leaves, I think you never know, because this could be an opening for someone like a James McAtee or an Oscar Bob or a Tommy Doyle. You absolutely never know. And also, can Calvin Phillips play that box to box role? Maybe he can. Maybe that's where Pep is stressing more on signing Calvin Phillips. We don't know until preseason starts what Pep is actually planning. But I do think that maybe Pep thinks if Bernardo does leave, Calvin Phillips can play that box to box role, because we're signing Calvin Phillips as a Fernandinho replacement, right? And Fernandinho was generally good box to box as well, even though he was holding primarily. And Calvin Phillips, even though he was holding primarily for Bielsa, Phillips is good box to box. He's a good attacking threat in the box. He takes up good attacking positions. He has a good long shot on him. He runs well. The stamina of Calvin Phillips cannot be underrated, because he's held that entire midfield on his own for Bielsa. So Bernardo with Calvin Phillips, I know it doesn't sound good because a lot of people in the chat were also saying 1 2 days ago that Calvin Phillips is a bang average midfielder. He's just a hyped up is another hyped up English player that we are bringing in and stuff like that. But I do think that Calvin Phillips. I know this is will be a very unpopular opinion, but I do think that Calvin Phillips could actually replace Bernardo Silva and play in that box to box role. He knows how to press. He has that stamina. He's played inside that one holding that Pep Guardiola. I mean that VLSA system, which is close to Pep's system actually. So that is that will be interesting to see where this leads us to. What will Pep be thinking? Or else will Pep bring up a change in formation and gazump all of us if Bernardo Silva leaves? 3-5-2. They said Pep wanted to try this when he was at Barcelona's last season and he couldn't succeed. Two strikers in Haaland and Alvarez. So Pep could actually do that. We do not know until pre-season what Pep has in his mind, but what I can see from press conferences, Pep is sure. It's a clear message to Bernardo. I want you to stay, but you're my trusted man. But if you leave, then the project won't stop. Stop. The show will go on. That is what is Pep's message. And anyway, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the show. If you've enjoyed the show, please click on the like button and also the bell icon so that you'll get notifications whenever we upload new videos. And we'll be back at this time every day with the latest things surrounding City and latest discussions surrounding City. And it was great having interaction with you all today. And take care, guys. See you all.